I experienced the sharp end of a tough time, living with a single parent, my mom, and she was really struggling to get a job. These are the things that form your views in life. They are established when you are growing up and being raised. That stuff doesn't really go away, that stays with you. I can understand why a single parent, working 2 jobs, would find it easier to stop at McDonald's with the kids rather than cook something from scratch at home. The single best indicator of whether or not a child is going to be in poverty or not is whether or not they were raised by a 2-parent household or a single-parent household. My daughter is, of course, perfect. Everyone's child is, but mine really is perfect. But I could not have raised her without my parents. From the time she was 7 months until now, I have been a single parent. There's a really unique relationship between a single parent and their child. Marriages so easily break up. There's kind of this temporary deal about marriages. That's one of the things that makes it stressful, and that's something that's non-existent in a parent-child relationship. The best situation is being a single parent. The best part about is that you get time off, too, because the kids are with their mom, so it's the best of both worlds. There's a lot to be said for it. In 2013, 71% of black children in America were born to an unwed mother, as were 53% of Hispanic children and 36% of white children. Indeed, a single parent is the new norm. Raising me as a single parent, my mother held many jobs. Most of them had to do with the betterment and the advancement of our community and society at large. I grew up seeing her active in ministries at our church, with the homeless, as a social worker, with elderly, with youth, as a children's rights organizer with the Urban League of Chicago. Loving and parenting a dog as a single parent can create all sorts of new and unusual problems, but also new sources of joy. Well, I took a sabbatical. I walked away from shooting movies because I couldn't handle the travel. I'm a single parent. I had young kids, and I found that keeping in touch with them from hotel rooms and airports wasn't working for me, so I stopped. I'm a single parent, and I just found that it was too difficult to manage raising my kids and doing the traveling involved in making movies. So I took a little bit of a break, and the little bit of a break turned into a longer break, and then I found that I really didn't miss it. When I heard Rockabye, I was just blown away. It had been a long time since I had heard a song that had a message like that in it, about being a single parent and caring for your child. My son has godmothers, godfathers, grandparents, and so many others in his life who love him as much as I do. They're there for both of us. I may not have a mate or husband, but I'm definitely not a single parent. With the single parent model, you experience betrayal differently. You experience lying from your kids differently. My mom had struggles. My dad had struggles. He raised me as a single parent. I rebelled and almost quit amateur boxing, but my faith in God had a lot to do with me slowly getting my life together. For me, already being part of a single-parent household and knowing it was just me and my mom, you would wake up times and hope that the next day you'd be able to be alongside your mother because she was out trying to make sure that I was taken care of. But all I cared about was her being home. I think any teenager, any single-parent household teenager growing up in New York City, will probably go through tumultuous years. I definitely did. It all sort of righted itself once I definitively got on the path of being a musician or, following that directly. When I was growing up, my family was plagued by poverty. My mother, a single parent, worked around the clock to make sure her children, me, my 5 brothers, and 3 sisters, could eat and have a safe place to sleep. We hardly saw her. It's difficult. I'm a single parent now, and I'm having such a battle to see my kids on a daily basis. It's so hard. There's a lot of weight on the shoulders of a single parent, and that's taken a lot of energy away from me. It was always in the back of my mind that I had to do it, and I couldn't count on anybody. There was no one around to pay for me to get through life. If you are a single parent, make friends with others in similar situations and develop friendships with married couples. Counsel with your priesthood leaders. Let them know of your needs and wants. Single parenthood is understood by the Lord. I'm a single parent, a working mother, an executive, and an author. My greatest accomplishment will be to raise 3 wonderful children. I truly have a village supporting me. My son has godmothers, godfathers, grandparents, and so many others in his life who love him as much as I do. They're there for both of us. I may not have a mate or husband, but I'm definitely not a single parent. Steven Spielberg's name was all over Poltergeist, and E.T. was out the same year, which every single parent took their child to. So despite Poltergeist being a horror movie, I convinced my parents to let me see it. It was terrifying. I guess this says a lot about me as a 6-year-old, because I loved it. Single-parent situations drive poverty and often lead to unsupervised kids. Many boys growing up without fathers often feel angry and abandoned. Thus, they seek comfort in all the wrong places. I was illustrating, and I was cleaning people's houses. I was doing whatever I could to take care of my kid as a single parent. I knew going in that being a single parent would be one of the toughest jobs I'd ever have. I'd been a talk show host, actor, comic, and on, but this gig was going to be my defining moment. Dating as a single parent is tricky. My kids are usually seen less as a bonus and more as a situation. My mom was a single parent. Growing up an only child with a single parent is probably why I'm an actor. I can't imagine being a single parent or a single parent that doesn't have a lot of money. That's a big, huge impact on your life and your dynamic and everything. I mean, that's huge. It affects how much you have a break from just concentrating on just one other person in your life. It becomes so myopic that way, and more intense, probably. I don't think I realized how stressed I was, being a single parent. It was really, really stressful. It's not easy on anybody. Coming from a single-parent household, I witnessed firsthand the strength and courage of the single mother. I always had my father in my life, but my household was run by my mother and my grandmother. As a result, I have always had the utmost respect for women and have chosen to strongly convey that in my music. I write from the same place I parent, and since becoming a single parent, I have found it difficult, if not impossible, to write anything of length. We didn't have a whole lot of cash growing up. My mom was a single parent for a while before my stepdad came into the picture. You know the things I went through as a youngster, coming into the business, all the good, the bad and the ugly that came. I'd had a rough life. I grew up single parent. My mom, she was like a father to me. My younger sister had kids before I did, and managed to earn a master's degree while raising them as a single parent. Now she's a brilliant second-grade teacher. I'm in awe of her ability to juggle everything and still be a great mother. People ask me how I've raised 3 children as a single parent, but honestly, parenting has been a breeze. I was incredibly shy and insecure as a child. I was bullied. I was dyslexic. I had an immigrant single parent. I was the opposite of that kind of ideal, cool girl thing. In some ways, I'm slightly like a single parent, so I need to be able to provide for my family. I grew up in Bushwick, and I lived with my mom. She was a single parent with 3 kids. I've got an older brother and a younger sister. We all were pretty active kids, but school wasn't particularly our strong suit. We were always good at other things. I was not prepared to live as a single parent. My mom Margaret was a single parent, but though life was a bit of a struggle, she gave me every encouragement. The hardest thing that I had to do every day as a working single parent was child care, to have to leave my child with people that I did not know and hope everything was okay. That was the most painful part of every day. Passion has always been important to me. That won't change. What changes in a woman's perspective? I mean, I have 2 kids now. I'm a single parent balancing motherhood and my career. That changes the equation. My mother was a single parent, a speech therapist who worked for a company that kept a substantial percentage of the income they billed for her to teach stroke victims in convalescent hospitals to talk again. I came from a single-parent household, and I had a bad example of what a husband and father could be and how irresponsible a father could be. So because of that, I didn't want to get married or have kids. As a single parent, I had become tyrannical in order to survive, and anything I couldn't control caused me enormous anxiety. As a naturally untidy, disorganized man who never made lists or kept receipts, morphing into someone who could take care of a toddler on his own may have caused me to overcompensate a little. I had an amazing mother. She raised 9 kids, practically as a single parent, which is the hardest thing in the world. 9 of us, day in and day out. She had to make sure we all had an education and that we all felt loved. Dr. Evil got shortchanged in the first one. The family dynamic between Scott and Dr. Evil, the adventures of being an evil single parent, needed to be explored. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.